Hey, party people, and welcome to Tea Talk Thursday. Hope you guys are having an amazing week wherever you may be. Here in the Philadelphia area, it is extremely cold today. Well, let me not say extremely cold. Let me take that back. It is very windy today. Yesterday, we had some snow sightings. I'm glad that it came and went. Hopefully, you guys have had the opportunity to take advantage of the vlogmas that I've been doing. It's been a lot more challenging than I anticipated it would be, but it's been kind of fun putting these videos together for the entire month. Today, I am so excited to share my screen with Chef Marilyn, who looks like she is just joining us. So let me bring her into the video here. Hello, beautiful mama. Look at you. You got a fancy on me. I can't take it.
This is called quick. Look at this. When you're pregnant.
Yes, everybody. This is Chef Marilyn the chef. So I keep calling you Chef Marilyn, but I realized that everywhere you are called Marilyn the chef. So I'll make sure that I don't say the wrong thing again.
It's okay. Are you able to see me clear? Because it looks a little.
No. You look great. You look
okay.
Absolutely great.
Okay.
But thank you for joining me. I've been, you and us we've connected in so many other different things that we haven't really had the time to really sit and chat. And I've been watching your lives lately, and I love the information that you've been sharing. I placed my order, so I'm really excited about receiving.
Your stuff is on its way. I'm so honored that you ordered some stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, it only made sense. I've been on this thing where I've been encouraging people to support Black businesses, which is one of the other reasons why I wanted you to come on here and talk, so that people realize, that you are a business that they can actually reach out to. And the other thing is, I feel like so much is going on in the world, and people are trying to figure out what to do. And so everywhere you go, someone is saying, oh, try this herb, try that herb, try this, try that. And people are telling people to try it, but they're not giving them any information with it. I know for me, when I was going through chemotherapy, so many people were sending me all these messages like, oh, did you hear this herb does this and this herb does that? And I said, well, what do you know about the herb as it affects, and affects with chemotherapy? And no one had any answer. I said, we can't keep just dropping this information and telling people to do this without some background. So that's why I was so happy when I saw your live and you really went through some of the herbs that you're using, what they're for, and all of that. So I had a hard time in deciding what I wanted to get. And I was like, okay, let me just get a starter kit. And then I was some more, like, it was crazy. Let me get me some more light here. But yes, I was happy that you absolutely did that. So for those of you guys who are just joining us today, and maybe you don't know who I am, my name is Tamika. I'm the mouth of Tamika Talks at IG and the thought leader at Life and Pumps, where I am based in the Philadelphia area. Tea Talk was something that I put together to be an organic conversation amongst friends, me and you, whomever, to really just talk about current events, things that are happening. And really, I feel like it's about news you need to know. So, of course, if you guys know me, I always have a cup of tea. It's just my thing. I can't help it. Tea is my thing. So that's why when I saw your tea, I was like, yes, I need that. But before we get started, if you guys have not entered the giveaway that I have going on Instagram with Organic Valley, tomorrow is the last day. We're going to announce the winner tomorrow at, I believe, about 5 Eastern Standard. So make sure you guys go and take advantage of that. But I'd like for you to introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and all that kind of good stuff. So go.
My name is Marilyn the chef online, but my name is Marilyn Moore. I am first a mighty Black woman from the Bronx. Second, I am a mother, a family creator, and a business owner. And that's what I've been for a large percentage. But if you ask me on a regular day, the first thing I am sometimes a business owner. And that used to scare people because I have 3 children under 10. So it's like, but I don't identify first as a mom because then I won't be able to work or feed them or clothe them. So what I feel like what I wake up and think about first is work because that's what pulls me the most.
Okay.
And I know I don't have a nanny. My kids don't take everything from me. Like, you know, they just don't. They actually add to me and help me actually show up to work. So, I mean, that's me. I'm a New Yorker. I love to go out. I really am part of being pregnant and having to go to a quarantine this year has been very challenging, that I can't just go out and hang out with my friends and go, because I live in Brooklyn and it's just so much to do. And it's like good food. You can find safe spaces that are cool and your age group. You know what I mean? It's just, that's the good part about living in New York City. And I really miss it. I miss it a lot because that used to be my balance between running the house, working, and then I could go out on a Saturday. My mom would keep the girls. And I really miss that. I don't know why I threw that in there, but I just feel like that's the balance of life.
You're not alone. I think we're all missing it. And in fact, I think it's making a lot of us depressed. And we're missing that social interaction, especially that face-to-face. And for so many people, they are over Zoom. I've told as many people, as I can, as will listen, that I'm over Zoom. The other day, I think I was on 4-5 Zooms all simultaneously happening at the same time. Yes. So I was like jumping in and out of meetings. It was the worst experience ever. And so I've been pretty good with staying in and not really going to a lot of different places and things of that nature. My immune system is already jacked up just, as a result of chemo or whatever. And then I just want to be mindful and kind of respect other people. We're telling other people to stay home. I kind of feel like I should do that as well. So I get it. And while Zoom has been great connecting with people and seeing them when you can't, still miss that personal interaction. So I know exactly. Yes. And here's the thing. I'm not touchy-feely. I don't like all that. I don't like all that. But right now I'm like, oh, okay, hi. And the elbow. So I get it. You are not alone in that. And I saw the live you did last night where you were kind of talking about some of that. So I get it. Absolutely. All right, look, we have somebody who wants to say hi. Let me let her say hi. Hello, Miss Donaldson. Thank you for joining and watching. Yes. Yes, you place an order. Yes, you do. I can't wait for mine to arrive. I already got my stuff set up for how I want to use it and all that. And I'll make sure that I do a video and edit it to my Vlogmas that I'm doing so that people can kind of see what it is. But let's get started. You've introduced yourself. I've introduced me. Tell me, how does someone get started using herbs?
First, I say is pace yourself slowly.
Very good.
I am not the master American salesperson. Okay. I do not throw things in people's laps because everything works different for your body. We know our body a lot better than we think. So if you say you're naturally having digestive issues, you cannot just I think there's 2 tips. The first thing is pick one brand at a time. And then when you start with the brand, take it in paces, like add a teaspoon. Everything. Oh, this one doesn't have a back, but when the back of like this one, it says, as a smoothie boost, add 1 teaspoon to an 8-ounce smoothie. Right? It's just start with 1 teaspoon, because 1 teaspoon is not going to have you with the runs on the toilet. Don't start with a tablespoon and overdosing. Please follow directions and stick to one brand at a time, because you don't know what everyone is doing. First of all, 2 people can have the same ingredients but have a different formula. You know what I mean? It's the amount, the ratios in there, and then you can overload your body. And I just tell people that's key, because we don't want to be afraid of herbs, because we've been taking like NyQuil, you know what I'm saying? So we can't be out here scared of herbs, because we have a chemical-based diet for the most part. Like, our life is surrounded by chemicals, but you don't want to just throw things in your body and you don't have any kind of, where did that come from? I wonder if I got better. I was taking someone will ask me, can you help me with something? And I'm like, okay, so what are you taking now? I was trying this, and now I'm like, Well, how do we know what works? Because
Right.
you're doing 5 or 6 different products. I can't tell you what's working and what's not because you're not pacing yourself, especially if you're saying you're coming from a place where you are not feeling your best and you want to get better. Now, if you want a boost, you still have to pace yourself because I mean, I say that because I'm like geeking out, like I'm into science. So I'm like, where's your logbook? You know what I mean? Like, did you log in your book? And I'm 42, so of course I have a logbook instead of, I do not use my phone to log in anything. But I'm like, where did you put this down at? Are you keeping track of what you're doing? Because our body will respond. Your body is going to respond.
Absolutely.
But we won't know if you're not taking account of what brands am I using? What did I mix it with? Did I all of a sudden stop drinking juice? I ask these questions to private clients and they're like, what? I'm like, no, was you drinking soda before and you stopped? I want to really know what's the root to why you got better. It's not about my product being a miracle worker because that would be foolish. I mean, I've had so many ailments since I was a preteen. I can't say that something worked overnight. I don't even know how I'm okay because I didn't even know what herbs were when I was 11. Even when I was 30, you know, there was no social media. There was Facebook, but you couldn't go online and be like, how do I get cured from this? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I learned to use books.
Okay.
Try something out. I used to go to the library, try 2 things out. And then they're like, okay, let me see if it works. Then try 2 more things, cut this out my diet. That is a process.
Absolutely. And I do agree that I think that so many people are expecting a miracle overnight cure. They feel like, well, I did it one time. Why didn't it work? And I think that's just a part of the microwave society that we live in where we're so used to, you know, we hit in 2 minutes and now we got something to eat. But I like how you talked about just the chemicals that we consume in our bodies. And what I tell a lot of people who are really trying to start the process to kind of more of a natural living. And I realize to be completely natural for some people just is not possible. And I get it, you know, and I tell everybody, you know, do what works for you and your family. But what I see often is that people want to jump and they want to do everything all at one time, as opposed to pacing yourself, which is what I like that you said. And I also love that you mentioned a notebook. Now, that's something that I did not do. I did with my family do an elimination where I kind of just came in the house and I just went cold turkey. Like I was just tossing everything. And then it went to me just like introducing new items. And initially some of them they didn't like, but they didn't have a choice because none of them like to go to the grocery store. So you want to eat meat, right? So what do you recommend that people put in this notebook?
So you need to map the first thing, and I love saying this in middle school class because they laugh, is track your poop. What is your poop doing? Your poop.
I knew you were going to say that.
Your poop is talking to you, the way it smells, the way it looks, how often you're going. That literally tells you a lot about what's going on in your body. You know how you're digesting food or if the food smells like a toxic wasteland. Now, we know poop don't smell great, but it should not, like, when my kids go to the bathroom and it comes all the way into the living room to the other side of the apartment, I'm like, okay, what did you eat? Well, I kind of went and had, I was at grandma's house. It always has something to do with grandma's house. But, and you know, we had this. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But you start with your poop. You should be definitely going to the bathroom every day. And I'm telling you, I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who go to the bathroom 3 times a week. So it's impacting all of us. They do not use the bathroom every day. So it starts happening right during puberty and we're not noticing. And like, oh, wait, I don't go to the bathroom every day. And they think it's okay. Like, it's good because I'm not pooping.
That is true because I have some friends who like, and I don't feel like we started talking about it until we were adults. And I said something and they're like, you go to the bathroom every day? I was like, yeah, I'm regular. They're like, but I go like 3-4 times. I'm like, no. You should be expelling yourself every day. If you've eaten, it needs to come out.
It needs
that. I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. And partly, like I knew you were going to say poop when you said middle schoolers because they laugh at it. They love saying the word. It's just so funny to me. But okay, all right. And wait, but when you say check out the poop, are you meaning like take it out the toilet and look at it?
No, don't take it out the toilet unless you have a science, unless you have on gloves and you doing a science experiment, because you know I'll be doing experiments, but I won't go into that part of my life. Don't go that far. We don't want you messing with waste right now. The next thing is your skin. Your skin says something, because sometimes people have clear skin here and will have acne in other places, that your back just starts breaking out. I've had, like, with my last, like, I get hair bumps. Like, it's hard for my if I don't really shave when I'm pregnant, because every time I get these hair bumps. You know what I mean? I'll get hair bumps, and then my doctor told me it's hormones, and I didn't know that until my first pregnancy. I was 33, and I'm like, I can shave easily. I've used the same razor. I'm a routine kind of person, and it just has a lot to do with how I grew up, and just anyway. So I use the same stuff, and then when things change, I was like, what? And she's like, you get hair bumps. It can be impacted by your endocrine system and your hormones. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? And so, like, I got pregnant and was covered in hair bumps. And I was like, brother, you're going to just have to have a hair rewind, because I ain't going through this every week. I'm not going through this. But do you know, every pregnancy it happened again? So it's just something that happens to me when I'm pregnant. So your skin is speaking to you. So this time it has happened the least. And I know it's because of, first of all, like, I'm in control of my house now. Like, everything in my house is what I needed. Before, I had I was on a compromise level. Now it's just like, I'm eating this way. I'm doing what's good, what my body needs. And then all y'all fall in line. Okay. Like you said, right? And it's happened less, but your skin speaks to you, and your skin can start getting rough patches. You have discoloration in your skin, and we take things lightly, but we shouldn't. Now, I'm not telling you to be paranoid and, like, obsessed with everything, because that's when you go to Google and you lose. Okay. No.
Dr. Google is not your friend.
It's not it, you know. Another thing is, if we can, which, you know, it's so funny. I've had 5 clients this year, this little tricky healthcare system of ours, where I asked them to get their blood type, because if you eat with your blood type, it really it can help you map out what your body needs. And then the doctor will charge them to get their blood type. And I'm just like, yeah. And they have been charged. Or they're like, oh, that's a separate test. I'm like, so you've been with a doctor how long? They don't know your blood type? They just can't fax you your blood type? I've never heard of that until this year. I had these clients who were like, girl, did you know that I tried to get my... And it raised flags for them also. Like, wait, who's in charge of my life right about now? And it fluctuated from people who are on Medicaid to people who work for the city to school teacher. Like, so it wasn't insurance. You know what I mean? It just, I was like, wow, okay. So learning your blood type, especially if you're working with a dietitian, will really help them create meals for you. Because, like, I'm an O positive, and meat is protein. I'm supposed to have a high protein diet. So I eat meat once in a while. I crave meat once in a while. And it's mainly when I crave meat, I'm craving red meat. And so I go to an organic farm, which makes it easier for me to eat less meat, because I live in New York, and the farmer's market be trying to charge you $16.99 per pound. And I'll be like, all right, we will be back in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, excuse me, I don't need to eat meat if that's what you got to go through just to get healthy meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
real
but I noticed that my energy, I'm high energy. I burn energy all the time. Like, my youngest daughter is O positive. I learned their blood type. That's one of the most things that were interesting. Their blood type and what's their rising and moon sign. You know, that was the most important thing I needed to learn about my kids to be a good mom. I'm messing with you. So I can help me get through all these girls in my house. You don't like me? Please get away from me, because it's making you crazy. All right, your mood is bugging. But so your poop, your skin, because those 2 things definitely tell us about our stomach, right? They tell us what's going on in that belly, where 80% of our hormones live, where in our gut. And the endocrine system is being led through that gut health. They're coming together, even though it doesn't seem like, oh, my stomach is not part of my endocrine system. Yeah, it's your hormones are in there, and we need to take care of those hormones in there. We need to make sure that our kidneys are being flushed. I knew that I didn't know that I had liver failure. When I had liver failure, the symptoms were diarrhea and my skin color changed. And that's why I believe skin and poop say something, because I couldn't hold my bowels, and I started to turn brown, and I was just like, okay, what's happening to me? But look at where it told me. It didn't tell me it didn't tell me through my weight, which everyone thinks their weight is telling them something about their health. No, it's just saying you didn't move as much, or you're gaining weight, or it's hereditary, or if at 13 you were wearing at 13 I didn't even have a bra and I was called Marilyn Bones, but then my best friend was already at a C cup. That didn't mean she was overweight. That was her family breakdown. You know what I mean? All the women in my family are very short, like petite women. All the women in her family had curves. I didn't get curves till about 16. You know what I mean? So we have to look at that and stop looking at weight, because weight will have somebody depressed, like that word you said earlier. Your weight is the last thing you look at. Weight
That's
has to do, right?
So that's really interesting that you bring that up, that you talk about weight, because let's see. So that has been, wow, that's gonna be a whole new show. We definitely gonna get on and talk about that, because that has been an issue for me for a while. On previous shows, I talked really about fat shaming and all of that. And sometimes, I scroll through and I look at pictures of people and, various sizes and doing whatever. And I share it with someone, Cherie. I said, maybe I have low self-esteem, because some of that stuff I'm just not putting on. Like, I don't think it's cute. Like, I don't think you seeing my fat shaking and jiggling. It's just not. And so that's interesting that you say, and I always say that it's not that I feel like I'm a fat shamer, because I hate that. I hate that people talk about people's weight and, and make it a whole thing. I think it's more like, I feel like dressing for your body type. So maybe that's where it is. But I said to her, I was like, maybe I have low self-esteem. I'm just not putting on a bikini. I'm not wearing a crop top. That's just never going to happen unless I'm skinty. When I'm skinty, then I'll do that. But if I'm not skinty, it's not going to happen.
But I think we also have to look at our age group, how we grew up. Remember, we're in similar age groups. We were not allowed to do. First of all, you weren't allowed to go to the corner store without your hair being combed. We could not go outside with bonnets or scarves. That was not allowed. And now people have a lot more freedom to just be whatever. Like, I could show up to a meeting in a bonnet. But I wouldn't, because I'm programmed. Like, my mom, I'm like, my hair's in a ponytail. Now ponytail side is coming out. Put it up. Make sure that bun is tight. I'm like, it's a routine that we can't really get. Our generation had no, if you don't look like this, you can't wear this. And I get how people are going back and forth. Of course, I just think that you're supposed to be comfortable. You're not supposed to follow a standard of your mom or the community. If everyone says, oh, if you have a belly, show it off. Okay, if that's good for you, go for it. But you shouldn't force. That's just where I'm at. I feel like we're in a world where all these new freedoms kind of take away our freedom. So what if I'm kind of stuck in a space where I want to be covered and dressed a certain way? That doesn't mean I'm not free. I don't want to do what you're doing.
I like the way I love that. I absolutely love that. Yes, because I do have an upcoming show where we talk about body positivity and kind of owning who you are and being okay with it. So absolutely, I love that. Okay, but let's get back to what we're supposed to talk about.
Okay, so don't focus on weight unless you feel like the weight came from medication, because I've been on steroids and the weight came from that, and I was just really swollen, and everywhere was just swollen. My hands were swollen, and that was a side effect of medication. So that's the time you look at weight. But other than that, let's first look at how you're pooping, what your skin looks like, and for women, what's your menstrual? And when I tell men, what does your sperm look like? Does it have a smell? Because sometimes your sperm could have a smell, or it's very runny, or if it's thick. You need to know what your sperm looks like, and these should be conversations, because it's talking to you. It's telling you something. If you suddenly become irregular, that's not normal.
Right.
Are you entering perimenopause? If you're not, are you under an extreme stress? People have been under a lot of stress this year. So it's not just like, my period should just stop, and I'm gonna get back to that in a minute. I'm happy. I'm happy I didn't get my period. I'm so excited. Like, no, that's not how we gonna need to be talking in these streets, because we don't want to be happy and wait, and then we go to the doctor and there's stuff growing in our uterus that should not be there.
Absolutely.
Have to have real hard, uncomfortable, go to the poop, shitty kind of conversations. You know what I mean? That make you kind of feel shitty. In multiple ways. We just have to feel that, so that we can, I'm a rhyme. We have to feel that so we can heal that. You know what I mean? I want people to be healthy. And that's why I've created these items, because I've had I remember when I was a lot more religious and went to church, and I used to be mad. I think I've told y'all, you in the street, like I was married to a pastor, and I used to be like, I feel like Job. Like, I just feel like every ailment has come up in my body, or I've been attacked. Like, I had these things growing in my breasts, and then it went away, and it came back. I struggled with that, so I didn't think I could breastfeed. Just in my 20s, before I was even 30, I had epilepsy. I had then the epilepsy got worse, and the seizures got worse, and then I was infertile, and I had cysts all over my ovaries. And I mean, they couldn't even, like, the ovaries were just so, it was just gigantic. When I used to look at the screen, I used to be like, it looks like a baby's inside me. And it's just cysts everywhere. And I wasn't even 30 years old. So I was like, I feel like Job, like everything is going wrong with me. And I've had liver failure due to side effects. I've had to be on anti-anxiety medication. Because the seizure medication gave me anxiety. I had issues with depression. I had bouts of depression, but I never really had anxiety. I'm just hype. I'm hype regular. But this form of anxiety, anxiety is not someone outside going like this. Anxiety is like when your mind is racing. And you can't breathe, and no one could even see it. If you sit like this, you could be having a full-blown anxiety attack and no one see it, but your thoughts are everywhere. And all of a sudden, this was happening to me. I was like, okay, hold up. I got to figure this out. And that's what I'm saying, like, our body's speaking to us. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is our mood. Our mood. Your mood will also speak to you. So don't take it lightly if for 5 or 6 days you don't feel well. Like, I have this thing, another thing, nonstop. It's one of the herbs I sell, and it's for your libido. And if you're a 40-year-old woman and you don't want to sleep with the spouse you're with, it's not instantly that your libido's off, because at 40 years old, your libido should be popping through the roof, because that's the peak of the libido for a woman. From 38 to about 45, you should be turning the party out. And it's just proven, right? You should be like, came through dripping. Like, you should really be feeling like that in the morning. So I had to tell somebody, I'm not a marriage counselor. You have to look at your relationship. I'm not always telling you go leave your man or leave your woman. No one's saying that, but we have to check your relationship, your forms of communication, because everything is not a herb fix. It could be just a relationship fix. And y'all may need a break and a vacation. And not a break from each other, but y'all need to go somewhere and be intimate. You may need to drop it to your knees for a bit. You know what I mean? And try get some freak back and not be afraid. Because when we get to this age, it's like we're supposed to slow down and crawl up into a ball. We have to notice these things about our mood. And that's a mood. Not wanting no one to touch you no more and just not be touched at all. It's not like we used to see those on the shows, like, oh, we don't sleep, we sleep in separate rooms. No, hunty. You need, women and men, I tell this all the time, you need to keep your adrenaline going, and your sex life needs to be healthy. It really does. Even if you're single, you find yourself a good partner and stay safe. No one's telling you, don't be running around everybody's bed and you got stuff crawling down there. Please don't do that. No one's saying that. But intimacy is also just having a companion to go out with, and you can hug no matter what sex they are. But having that companionship, we need that as mammals. Like, it's very important, and your mood will start to tell you. Like, I hear people. I don't like people. I don't want to go around people. Like, I just like to stay to myself. I was like, okay, that sounds cute. The world maybe has amplified to make you think you're a champion, but you're a mammal. That's point blank period. You're a mammal. You need to have a pack. No one's telling you to hang out with everyone, but you should really be interested in some form of companionship.
Absolutely.
Right? And so the mood will tell you. So I've given someone nonstop. And they're like, well, things ain't changed. I said, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, I want to know, are you waking up feeling more aroused? Like, yeah. So it's a communication thing. Right. Let's go to the next step and sit down and talk to your partner, because they could be going, we act like men don't have no issues. Like, men don't have hard days. And it's even worse for them to talk about it, because especially as in Black men and Latin men, no one gives them space to have emotions. Like,
Absolutely.
and they have tons
yes.
of emotions, especially if you're married to someone. The person I'm speaking about, husband is 60. So I'm like, do you know that when men after 50, their estrogen shoots up and their testosterone goes down? So now they have this new personality that they're hiding,
right.
especially if they're like that alpha male. They are not going to come and tell you they feel sensitive. Okay. And now they're hiding it.
Right.
But I want us to have these conversations because that 6-year-old man definitely deserves someone that asks them, how are you doing? Are you feeling more sensitive? What we need to do to get that testosterone given up, because that also is what can cause cancer in their prostate, having their estrogen run way too high. And you want to eat foods that balance their hormones. But who is talking to a man about balancing their hormones?
Nobody. Most men aren't even acknowledging these hormones, so nobody. So maybe they're talking about it at the man meeting, but they're not talking about it with women.
they're not speaking about that with us for sure.
Exactly. No,
that is not on Tanisha Talk.
When you think about it, a lot of that goes back to when our kids are young, when our boys are young, and people are like, you shouldn't be crying. And I remember when my son was little, I'm like, well, why shouldn't he cry? It's an emotion. Everybody feels it. If he needs to cry, he should cry. And I think it goes back to that. And it goes back to, people not wanting boys to play with dolls. Like, if they want to play with a doll, who cares?
I love that.
You're absolutely correct.
It's so important because when I work from different communities, and when I work in the South Bronx, there's a lot of like Garifuna, Ghana, Senegal. Those countries live in the South Bronx, and those are the students I'm working with. So there's a lot of them are Muslim or highly Catholic or religious, and all of that plays part in how you carry yourself and what your family beliefs are. And I would see a lot more of those boys very reserved. The girls, very reserved, feeling about a gazillion things, stressing me out. But I can't say they feeling because they don't feel. Mm-hmm. And then I will go to Washington Heights in a very Dominican population. And the boys come in and instantly are holding on to my arm. What you gonna cook for us, Chefy? And rubbing they don't feel like their sexuality is broken. They're just a lot more sensitive. They hug, and I'm like, touchy. And I used to make a joke. I'm like, come on, touchy. So everyone in my class, because everyone wants to hug and touch. And I go right across the bridge to the Bronx, and no one wants, if I even touch their arm, they're like, why are you touching me? It's so, and I could sit here and say, because I told you I keep a logbook, that we're going to say, well, let's not talk about people's culture, but culture does train our children and prepare us for the future and how we respond to our body. Mm-hmm. When I would ask them certain questions, the girls in the South Bronx, what I say, who knows where their uterus is? This is an 8th grade class. They were like, you mean my vagina, my coochie? Like, what? That's disrespectful. I'm like, first of all, I'm not talking about your coochie. Okay, please don't call it a coochie.
And I ain't asked to touch it, so
and don't call it a coochie. Okay, right. So please call it a vagina. Call it something else. And no, that's not your uterus. But they're 13. Right. There's no one discussing this with them. Yeah. And that at 15 or 16, because I have clients who have fibroids at 16, if something's happening, who are they going to tell? They're going to keep that quiet and just suffer with painful periods and say nothing because it's taboo. But then I go to Washington Heights and they're like, girl, because I was talking about mine. Like, it's open. It is an open conversation at home, and you see the difference in sensitivity. So I brought all that up because that has a lot to do with our mood and how we process our emotions.
Absolutely. But even when you think about just culturally, it plays into the foods that we eat and the herbs that we use, because it's what our grandmothers or great grandmothers used, and it was just passed down through the generations. And I even see in a lot of cultures now where maybe that's what was happening, but maybe there was a break because that kid was like, I want to be more worldly. I want to be like what everyone else is doing. I'm not doing that. But what's so funny is I feel like, in the past few years, and especially right now when we're in the midst of the pandemic, people are realizing we got to get back to what our grandmothers were teaching us. So many people have gardens now, they're trying to change the way they eat, the way they think, all of that, because we realize, we were such in a hurry to erase those things. But apparently they work, because our grandmothers were very healthy for however many amount of years. And I tell people that all the time, we cut out a big piece of our culture, and now we're seeing where others are picking it up and selling it, and we're like, wait a minute, my grandmother was doing that for 20 years.
Yeah,
so, absolutely, culturally
it goes from our skin, what we're putting on our skin. My grandmother only used one thing. It may not have been, I forget the lotion she used. My grandmother's 90. My grandmother chain smoked, and literally used to have a bottle of Absolute by her bed, and call it Absolutely. Don't touch my Absolutely, with a big bottle of water. I'm telling you the truth. This woman is strong and 90 and mad that she got a home health aide. So, and cursing everybody out and saying that y'all don't do your job in this government. That's why I'm locked in the house. You know what I mean? And that's she's right. It's like, what was y'all doing all this time? And we still telling people I'm black. I know I'm black. What's wrong with you? Y'all still got to tell people that? Like, this is my grandmother. And that shows you how. I said that to say she's here mentally. Mm-hmm. She's not lost somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She's here. So she's 90 and has not lived like, oh, I'm healthy. She definitely drank. She loved to hang out and have fun and live her life. But until she was in probably like her 60s, she made everything from scratch.
Right.
Exactly. She used one lotion, one soap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This Castile soap she was using from the 60s all the way. She wasn't mixing and matching and putting all these chemicals on her body. She never put certain things on her face. You had to prove that it was good and all this. So we couldn't just come to her and say, well, try this. And I listened to that method, because now we're saying, I taught this adult class, and they're like, oh, I'm like, we need to start doing family dinners and bringing our culture and foods to say, okay, if you have a garden, and why don't we share and say, I'm growing dandelion, I'm growing collards, and we could freeze and we could kind of share and build communities like that. So that was the point. I'm a food justice advocate. Right. So I was bringing up that aspect of what we can do. People who have homes, they could come to the city, like say you live in a more suburban area and five people with gardens, and y'all could come and share instead of us having to go to big farmers that are not going to work with us, right? So this was just Marilyn's idea. But I had people saying, well, I don't know how people grow stuff. I said, when's the last time you ate out? Because, I'm also a trained chef that worked in many kitchens. And I could tell you could sit down and eat a $150 meal, but they ain't $150 workers in the back. There's workers who were starting to drink tequila since 6 a.m. and they stumbling, and I'm about to punch them in their face because they keep talking about my booty. Okay, so I got a lot of different stories out in these streets, which I know any other women in culinary also do. So I'm like, and I'm talking to people who ain't eating. It's not going to a farm, a grass-fed farm to table restaurants, who is going to the chicken spot, but you talking about you can't eat from somebody's garden. Exactly. And we have to change our mindsets, because our grandparents would have jumped on that. Heck yeah. They left people with neighbors, your kids with each other, so they keep their mental health together. Yes. Right? So we definitely can't say we are nervous, because we eat from strangers
all the time.
Care about it
at all. At all. Ask them. Half of them don't wash their hands.
We don't even ask them what's in it or what kind of oil they use, but you want to know what I'm doing. Like, no, you know what I mean?
Right.
Switch that around.
Absolutely.
And get our trust more into each other and less into these people who are just capitalistic pigs. You know what I mean? We all out here need to make money, but you need to have value. Like, everything in my product has value. I am not going to try to sell somebody something because I want some money. I will just go out and speak somewhere and get a new contract. That's where I really make my money. And I'm grateful for that. Part of my business is from teaching and contracting and public speaking, because I really want this to stay intimate. I want my herbs to blow up, because I'm about to have 4 daughters to leave a company to, right? Of course. But I don't want people taking something because I just want to sell it to you.
Right.
That's scary to me.
Absolutely.
Not when it comes to people's health.
Right.
I want there to be integrity involved in there. And like, I'm going to use, like I was saying in that live you came on, most of the things in my herbs literally are stuff that I originally come from the supermarket, like ginger, turmeric. It'll get a little exotic with some dandelion, but I have dandelion greens in my refrigerator that if you live in certain parts, you can find your dandelion greens.
So let's talk about that. So I want to get some herbs. I'm hearing, that they're the next best thing.
Yes.
What do I buy? Where do I start? Do I go to a market? Do I look for it online? Like walk me through the steps. Like how does somebody get started?
Well, if you want a blend of dried herbs, then you can look online, but try to find like say you live in the somewhat tri-state area, but buy something online from a company that's in your area if you're going to buy something online, because I'm also about ecology and our carbon footprint, and we should not be like, oh, I saw someone in California or in Hawaii and they want to order their product, because that's not good for our earth. You can find small businesses that you still have to order online, but they live in Jersey and you live in Brooklyn, you know what I mean, or they live in LA and you're in San Francisco. That's a little bit better to me, you know.
Absolutely.
So that is one thing. And then I really want people to walk to where they get their food. I honestly do. I want you to walk and get your food, because that is how normal mammals live. I always go back to mammals because that's what helped change my life, is seeing myself the way we are. So we cater to animals. It's like we don't cater to humans that way. And it makes no sense. Maybe you need to put that animal inside you, and little cubs, little pain in the butt tantrum cubs. You know what I mean? I think I say cub if I say a little tantrum girl. Where I come from as a Black woman, she's grown. That 4-year-old is grown. You know what I mean? My 9-year-old is grown. But if I say my little 9-year-old cub, and then I have a sensitivity, like I have to guard her and protect. It's my own brain. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm like, what is a cub gonna do? It's a cub. They're gonna walk 7 miles unless we came and destroyed their community. They're not going 20 miles to get food. They're gonna find food in their area, eat that. It's gonna help. They're gonna poop, fertilize the land, and it's a cycle. And then we can do the same thing. We eat locally, we build the economy locally, we build businesses locally, and then where we live can thrive, you know?
So I hear you, and I think it's great. And I'm all about supporting small businesses, especially small Black businesses. My husband and I have been extremely intentional in doing that, especially in this pandemic. And I love to shop locally. Like I've been getting things from restaurants in my area, all of that. The thing is a lot of it is just not natural, because some of them aren't at that place. And for me, it really came down to, you know, I've always been on this eco wellness journey. You know, this isn't new for me, but really when the pandemic hit, I was like, I got to step my game up, because I can't bring any of my family to be sick. So, you know, it went from like sea moss to, you know, me getting zinc, like you name it. I was like, wait a minute, I got to find it. And so it's not always so easy to find that's, you know, readily at the store. So even so I made my own sea moss gel, and people were like, where'd you buy that from? I need this, I need that. And so I realized that a lot of people, you know, they heard a lot of the buzzwords, but weren't really clear on what it does. And then I felt like some people were going to get into a point of overload where they were just going to start taking everything. Like, oh my God, on the internet, it says this works, it says that work, it says this work. So I want to be able to tell people, here's your starting point. You know, this herb is good for everything. You know, it's something that you need in your body for healing.
Okay, so I can definitely do that. Like, for example, like I'm sitting here and this is a lemon. I keep this lemon here on my desk. It's for energy, right? But I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the lemon. I learned. You talking about grandma? You know what I mean? Elders taught me this. Like, if you got people in your house, my grandmother is a little weird. You put this lemon and it absorbs the energies, like stuff you learned from your ancestors. And I'll leave a lemon right on my desk by the computer. I do so much work here. If I leave it in another space, it will stay soft for so long. I leave it right here on this desk when I'm going live and doing all this. This thing gets hard in 2 weeks. It's like, and that's the spiritual aspect of it. Yeah. But that's why I have it right here. I just want you to know, like, I ain't sitting here with a lemon.
So let me say this. So my daughter loves lemons and she just eats them. So we buy them and we just have them all around because of that. So you having a lemon in your hand would not surprise me.
Oh, okay. Well, we use also, so now I'm gonna tell you all the other things we do with this lemon. So we use lemon to rub under our arms as deodorant, right? So now you can find a lemon anywhere. And so I want to start with this, how you can do. So then after I'm done with the lemon and say we use it for tea, we use some for under our arms, then I can keep the lemon peels and I put them in the freezer and we use them even down to my kids to scrub my face or drop in the bathtub. right? So now I'm getting the vitamin C by drinking it or eating it with a meal. Under my arms is giving me this balance for so that I won't smell, and I do not smell at all the lemon, the chemicals in the lemon, the acidic, the acid, absorbing
the
acid.
balance, right?
Yes, it comes with the oxygen, because we only smell when our sweat hits oxygen, and then those chemicals come together and we have funk. And that also is another thing you have to check your sweat. If it's smelling too foul, then something's going on in your body. You know, that's like if you eat garlic, your sweat's gonna smell like garlic and ginger, right? So this lemon, now I can take the lemon peel, I freeze it, and I wipe my face. I'm 42, but I don't trick people. Like, I have this face wash called Rinse That, but I'm not gonna say that's gonna keep you ages. I'm a Black woman. My mom you know what I'm trying to say? And my grandma drank, and she looked great, and she should not be looking that great as much alcohol she done drink. But anyway.
Her body's used to it.
Exactly. And she has great skin. So I can't sit here and say that saved my life. You know, it's also our genes. It's genetic. Yeah. But this also keeps me refreshed. In between doing this, when I leave here, I'm going to go teach a middle school class. And then I still have 3 kids in my house and I'm pregnant. You know what I mean? I need the revival. So this has tons of vitamin C in the skin. So you're saving the skin, you're using the inside. Now look at how much I've used a lemon, right? Wow. So you take 1 lemon, you using your as a scrub, and you can add castor oil to it or some honey, or you can, whatever you wash your face with, let this be your scrubber. If you have a hand scrubber, people have different things, turn this into your scrubber. And it will work when you freeze it. And then when you freeze it in the morning, you'll see your skin kind of plump up. You know what I mean? And everybody wants a little bit of that. And it'll brighten your skin. And the smell, let's talk about aromatherapy and mental health. Yeah. It just lifts you up. Oh my goodness. Even my daughters love it.
Okay, so that's easy because everybody can find a lemon. So that's not
exactly. So you're adding high vitamin C. You can put this on salads and meats. You can do your own vinaigrettes with lemon. You know, apple cider vinegar, olive oil or coconut oil if you want that coconut flavor, sea salt, and some squeezed lemon. We don't have to make everything so complicated. With a little bit of basil or cilantro, depending, or rosemary, whatever one is your favorite. I always say basil because basil has tons of calcium. It has vitamin C. It also has B vitamins, and it's best to eat. I don't want you to cook with basil. Basil, in 2 minutes, if you put basil in a sauce, all the nutrients are gone and the flavor's gone. Basil is meant to eat raw, and that's why they usually in dishes they garnish food with basil. They don't really, or they dry it properly and then use it, because the nutrients come out very easily compared to like something like rosemary.
I have some dry basil sitting in a jar right now that I took.
Yes, and so put that in the dressing, boom, and that's so simple and quick. It's not nothing that you have to be like, oh God, I gotta make that dressing for the family, you know, and you're stressed out about it. So that's one thing. And in the supermarket, because you know I work in low income areas of people. The key word is we don't have access to that. I had to do. I was ignorant. Then I started doing acid because I was living in bougie Brooklyn for so long, where I go outside, everything's outside, everything. I forgot, you know what I mean? And about 5 years ago, I started doing asset mapping in Washington Heights, parts of Harlem, and in the South Bronx. And they have supermarkets that don't have coconut oil. Like literally have olive oil that is twice the regular price. Wow. And they only sell tiny jars. In areas where in the Bronx, the highest population is 0 to 17. The most, so people have lots of children in the Bronx. So no one's buying no 8-ounce jar of olive oil that's $10.99, right?
Exactly. So they got to stretch it.
Exactly. So I had to come up with different things, you know, because I would say if you buy a bottle of oil, so then I had to tell them how to invest. Buy a big jar of olive oil, walk a little further, because there were places I was able to find, but use it as your baking oil, use it as your face oil, use it as your frying oil. If you use it in 5 different times. I'm sorry about that. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. If you use things in multiple ways, then it's worth the money, But if you're using your olive oil only to dress your dressing once a month, then that's foolish.
Right.
You have to stretch and find out all the uses. Olive oil is great for a face wash, like a face scrub. You can add that to this. Olive oil is great for our hair. No matter what texture your hair is, it may not flatten it the way something thicker would, but it's going to give your hair nutrients.
Yeah.
And you're washing. You can pour some in your shampoo and you will see a difference. And you know it doesn't have chemicals. Boom. Well, what can they find in the local supermarkets? They can find dried turmeric. Especially if you go to an immigrant neighborhood, and I will tell them, I'm like, y'all fruit stands be off the hook because they know that people from other countries is not yet eating what we eat. Right. and they will demand it. They will demand it. So you can find ginger. You go to the store right now, right? And you bought a lemon, ginger, turmeric, olive oil, right? Or, that's what you came back with, grapeseed oil, some kind of oil that's held, coconut oil, which is you can find a lot easier now than you did before. You take those things, and I can teach you a few different dishes. You can take that turmeric, you dry some of it, you blend some in smoothies, you cook with some of it, you can make a dressing out of it, you can add it to baked goods. Turmeric is going to clean out your liver. It's going to help balance those hormones. You can make a mask out of it. You just got to be prepared that you're going to be a little orange and you got to scrub. You're definitely going to be orange. And you got to scrub. And it has a unique flavor. You can make your own curry with it. And I make raw curry instead of like dry curry. So a raw curry is like, you can buy the turmeric and I'll add my seasonings like cumin and masala. I live in Brooklyn. See, that's why I'm trying to say accessibility. I tell them, okay, if you can't find that, let's use cinnamon and nutmeg. And you still can make a curry with that because those are in there too. It just will stand out. It will taste a lot more Middle Eastern because then there's Caribbean forms of curry, right. And there's North African curry, and then there's Middle Eastern, Lebanese. Like, there's so many different people who use curry in their dishes, but they make them differently. Who cares if it's not the curry you have from the spot down the block? Like, make your own legacy in your house. So we have that turmeric, we have the ginger, you have a little garlic, all you can find at the store. You could add some shea with a cinnamon stick, buy the raw nutmeg if you find some. If you go to a market that only sells this and it's 3 miles away, but they do sell it, even in the hood, you have to just go on Google and find African markets. Even in Pennsylvania, find these little markets. And when you go there, because these things don't go bad, invest, make an investment, buy a bunch of raw nutmeg, buy a bunch of raw cinnamon. It will last for like over a year. These are items that people in third world countries use who can't go to market every day because they're on a budget. They're like going to buy things that don't go bad. Some of them don't have indoor refrigeration. But guess what they don't have? High rates of infertility. They don't have high rates of cancer and the flu. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's facts because they're relying on like 5 little things. Ginger is your whole life. Garlic is an antiviral. Like, it literally kills a virus. You can cure a yeast infection and a cold with garlic. You know what I'm saying? Like, child, I'm winning.
Absolutely. And what I will say is I feel like a lot of these not only are accessible in your market, depending on where you are, some of them you can find really inexpensive.
Yes.
And what I started doing is a lot of times when I buy certain things, when I cut to the root, I put the root in a glass and grow it. So then I have my own.
Yes, it's so true. And then you can freeze some things. You can freeze ginger. I freeze my garlic and I freeze my turmeric because I'll go to this fruit stand that I can't just get to all the time. First of all, I have a middle child who don't want to go anywhere. She is a housebody. She is so opposite of me. But I'm not going to mess up her whole life. She's like, I can't wait till I can stay home alone. I'm like, but you ain't there yet, and I'm not going to jail. So let's get dressed, and you got to come with me. So I try to get things in bulk because I know during this quarantine, I want to give all 3 of them what they need too. I don't want to stress them out. Sometimes I'm like, you have to compromise and go for a walk. That's what your sister needs. And then we'll get everything we need. And that walk, she's like, I thought we was just going for a walk. No, we can stop in at shops because I need some stuff. And I make it work. And what I'm saying is that we don't need all this variety. You need a few things. Make seasoning, make dressing, make face scrubs, body scrubs. Do all of that with your garlic, your ginger, your turmeric, your lemon. Like, you have to take this and maximize its potential. We got to act like we're in a life coaching masterclass. How do I maximize you, Lemon? You know what I mean? How do I make you great and never leave an ounce of you out? You know?
Yeah,
And
but
then
no, that's true. That is, I mean, when you think about just the way, you know, probably our grandparents or great parents lived, they didn't waste stuff. We are extremely wasteful.
Oh,
yeah.
These are my mailers. My desk is a mess. I'm glad you only can see a section of it. But I have been working like crazy and not cleaning anything, right? But like, this makes me so happy. I'm always I always dress up, right? That's my thing. So my sister was like, I just assumed you would have fancy packages. I don't, no.
Wow, people can just throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when I said that to her. I'm like, I wear stuff from thrift shops. I just find good pieces and I'm happy about it. I like to look nice, but this is sexy to me. This bag here is sexy to me.
Oh, I love
it. Watch me disappear.
Yeah.
I love this. It says, hello, I'm magical. The 100% compostable mailer. So you can put this in your dirt and it will disappear. It's
nice.
It's biodegradable.
Yes, I'm starting my garden right now. Yes.
Man, brother, come talk about I'm biodegradable. I'm like, ooh, you sexy. Are you?
No. Yeah, I can. All right, so we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So let people know how they can contact you, where they can find you. And as I stated, guys, I have a shipment on the way, and when it arrives, I will make certain that you guys get to see what it is. And I probably will have Marilyn come back so she can kind of walk me through some of the stuff that I should be using with it. I already know the smoothie part. I'm excited about having some tea. Yes. So some of the stuff that I ordered, I want to make sure that I share with people so people can see firsthand what it is. And, you know, I always stand by what I say. If I'm telling you guys to buy something, I should have at least bought it and tried it. And I've known Marilyn for a while, and I know that how she is and what she's about. And I know she's just not trying to peddle products. So, yeah. So let them know where they can find you and your shop. I'm assuming it's probably all just on the same website, but go ahead.
Yes. And that, I love how you see, I just know that I know people don't like when we say that, but that Generation X, we like things to be like that. I mean, I just know we do. Because when you said that, someone's like, don't you have a Shopify? Don't you? I said, no, I have my same website that I've always had. It's called divineappetite.com. Divineappetite.com. You go on it. The first thing you're going to see is my shop. But then you go to those little bullets and it's going to say about. If you want to hire me to come to your school or you want to buy my products, all of that is there in one space because I don't want people all over the place. And that's basically it. Divineappetite.com. You go in there. You can, you want to work with me one-on-one. You want me to come speak somewhere. You want to buy my herbs. You can do all of that there. And that's where you can find me. On social media, I am building my Facebook business page. That's been there forever, but they have this lovely thing called Business Suite that I didn't know about. And so I've been scheduling all my posts, especially now because I'm about to be disappearing from everyone, like in my Insta story, but I will still be putting out content from laying on the couch. You know what I mean? And I mainly found on Instagram as Marilyn the Chef, where you can see me on the Insta story in the morning looking any kind of way, talking about my kids. And that's where anywhere you type in Marilyn the Chef, I'm gonna come up on YouTube. I'm gonna come up on Facebook and on Instagram. It's the same handle. And that's basically it. And I'm so grateful, Tamika, for you just reaching out, coming, joining, and because this is a season of being honored. I'm honored that as a woman who's pregnant, I don't have a perfect background story behind it. I was able to launch a product that I've been wanting to launch for a few years, but I just didn't want to bully herbs on people because I'm a saleswoman. You know this. I run a business and I'm the bomb at sales, but I was like, I can't use that energy with herbs, So I'm grateful that I have these spaces where I can literally talk and really help people get to know me and what I'm selling. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely. And I think it helps that You are true to who you are. You're extremely authentic. And so if you guys are not following her Instagram, I highly suggest you go over there and check her out. Her Insta stories are extremely funny, of course, but she talks about the process of what she's doing. And even on her website, you'll see some of the videos of things that she's done. If you're looking to do a virtual cooking class, whatever you need, she pretty much has it on her site. So I am so looking forward to some future projects that I want to work with you on, and we will definitely stay in contact behind that. And guys, she's getting ready to drop a baby. You can't tell it from her right there because she clearly don't look pregnant, but she's pregnant. Look at that. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. Another baby. And is it a girl as well? Woo, honey. Yes, yes, yes. She is having another girl. So, of course, we send you healing vibes to that room. Absolutely. But thanks for joining me. And we will catch up soon. And once I receive my product, I will let you guys know. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.